So today we have a very special webinar. So we have a meeting with a company that participates in X-Culture for the first time, a company called MOS Foods Services. So we will talk about the name and what it means in a few minutes. And here with us, we have Mr. Kokosai, who represents the company. And so the goal for today is to learn more about the company, its business model, current operations, products, its history, but then also, most importantly, questions and answers. So if you students have any questions, feel free to put them in the Q&A window or in the, in the Q&A window or in the chat window. And I will be monitoring that and relaying the questions, trying to group them and relaying them to our presenter. And so feel free also, it's a meeting, so we deliberately set it up as a meeting, not as a webinar. So if you have questions, feel free to raise your hand, unmute your microphone and ask your questions. But let's start with a quick introduction by Mr. Kokosai about the company history, maybe a little bit just kind of to set the stage, and then we will move on to the questions and answers.
Yes, thank you, Professor. But can I share my screen?
Oh, yes, yes, absolutely. So yes, it should allow you to share the screens now, yes.
Okay.
Does it allow? Yes, yeah. Yes,
Yes.
we see the slides. Very good. So yes.
Okay, so good evening or good afternoon or good morning, everyone. Thank you for your interest in our company, MOS Food Services. I'm super excited to be here today to talk with you all. I also want to thank Professor Taras for allowing us to participate in X-Culture this semester. It's a great honor for me to have this opportunity to introduce our company in front of all of you. I'd like to thank Professor Zhang of International University of Japan. She advised me to join X-Culture. Thank you very much. My name is Ko Kasai. I work for Multiple Services as a director, and I'm now responsible for the company's business strategy and budget. Today, I'd like to talk about our company, and I hope to make your 45 minutes enjoyable. If you are hungry right now, this presentation will be a bit painful. I must say sorry in advance. Please relax and have a good time. Okay, so I have one question to begin. Do you like hamburgers? I guess, or I hope, many of you like hamburgers. Even if you don't like a hamburger, I'll be happy if you like it a little bit today. For me, I loved hamburgers since I was a child. After that, I started working for most food services. I found the hamburger business is really interesting because hamburgers are a very popular food all over the world. Perhaps thanks to McDonald's, many people throughout the world, young and old, can easily enjoy hamburgers at a reasonable price. On the other hand, there are many expensive upscale hamburgers as well. Similarly, the ingredients vary. Basically, they are buns, beef, cheese, tomatoes, lettuce, etc. But different countries prefer different ingredients. This is probably the most famous hamburger in the world, Big Mac. And below is also famous Whopper of Burger King. This is so tasty because this patty is grilled in open flame. The smell is wonderful. The upper right is a funny one, but it's an octopus hamburger. I don't know whether it is real or AI, but I found it on the internet. And bottom right is a shrimp croquette topped with guacamole. As you all know, there are so many kinds of hamburgers. I think a hamburger is a food that can be easily and deliciously eaten by sandwiching a main protein such as meat or fish with vegetables or other favorite items between buns. In this sense, in other words, a hamburger is not a single menu item, but a media, is my opinion. In this sense, the hamburger business has a high degree of freedom and potential anywhere in the world. So please think more freely about the hamburger business. Please don't stick to existing products. Okay, so here is today's menu. First, I'll give you an overview of our company. After that, I'll give a supplementary explanation of our challenge. For more information about our company, please download our integrated report. It contains a lot of information from the history to the most recent financial results. It should be the most useful resource for you to learn about MOS. The last section is Q&A. If you write something in the chat box during my talk, I'll answer them later. So firstly, let me introduce our company. We operate a hamburger chain called MOS Burger. Do you know what is MOS Burger?
I did some research. I know what MOS stands for, but
Thank you. So someone asked an AI, and next is the result.
oh,
It's funny, but looks not tasty at all, doesn't it? Please remember this. We are not MOSS. We are MOS Burger. Again, MOS Burger. Please don't make a mistake. The name MOS comes from mountain, ocean, and sun. As Professor said,
yes.
yes, they represent our spirit. MOS means being majestic and noble as a mountain, having a heart that is as broad and deep as the ocean, and passion like the sun that never burns out. Our founder, Sagrada Satoshi, named MOS to encapsulate his unending love for human beings and nature, as well as his wish for the company to be a body of people as ideal as nature. We've defined three more elements to describe our brand. We love nature. In that spirit, we use a lot of fresh ingredients. We also want to be creative. We've invented many brand new menu items. And we love people. Our customers and staff are all human beings. We think our products and services exist to connect people to people. Okay, so the next is our business overview. MOS Burger is the second largest hamburger chain with about 1,300 stores in Japan, and there are 455 stores overseas, mostly in Asia. Asian countries are relatively receptive to the Japanese brand. At the same time, we also have a better understanding of the cultural values of Asian countries. Our brand is quite well known in Taiwan, Singapore, and Hong Kong. Our founder loved Hawaii, so we opened the first overseas store in Hawaii about 30 years ago. But the business did not go well at the time, and we had to leave. Now we have overseas stores in 8 countries and regions. We regrettably withdrew from Indonesia last year, but I want to reopen in the future. But anyway, this number 9 is incorrect right now. Our hamburgers are very famous and popular in Japan. Let me tell you a little about why. We make our products after receiving an order. We call this after order system. We have a detailed manual to ensure our products in a good condition. The combination of hot buns and patty, 85 degrees Celsius sauce, cold lettuce at 4 degrees Celsius, and stick sliced tomatoes. When they come together in your mouth, it will be the best taste you can have. We are particular about our sauces. We use as little artificial ingredients as possible and respect natural flavors. Tomatoes and lettuce come from our contract farms every day and washed every morning in the store. Very few food restaurants use knives in a store, but we do use it. This is our commitment. Similarly, there are very few restaurant companies that have a sanitation subsidiary for hygiene. We put a lot of effort into ensuring the quality of these products. As a result of these efforts, MOS Burger has received high marks in many consumer surveys. There are many different surveys, but very often MOS Burger is ranked number 1 when it comes to taste. Our commitment to good taste is based on our mission and vision. We have several philosophies, but I'd like to share with you most today is making people happy through food. Everyone feels happy when you eat really delicious food. In other words, good food can make people happy. I think that is fantastic. It's just a food, but can make people happy. So we want to deliver those moments. One good thing about hamburgers is the price. Hamburgers are affordable to many people. Our mission doesn't say hamburger on it, but we believe that hamburger is one of the best menu items because many people like hamburgers and potentially they can provide great taste enough to make people happy. Then, one question, does eating something delicious always make us happy? I think the answer is no. The atmosphere of the place and the staff is almost also important. We can easily imagine that a dirty restaurant will ruin a good meal. If the staff is unpleasant, even a good meal will not taste good. We believe that a relaxed and warm atmosphere is crucial. To this end, we've created a basic policy that expresses the atmosphere we are aiming for. The original is in Japanese, but we've translated into English and created illustrations. Please see this picture, and please see these red letters. Feel at ease and sense the genial warmth. Our staff chants this basic policy every day and makes every effort to create such a store. Do you feel empathy for these values? This policy was created over 40 years ago in Japan. The country and time period are completely different from yours. Personally speaking, I am very interested in how universal this way of thinking is. If there is an opinion that it's just a Japanese way of thinking and different values are better in your country, you may say so. That is very welcome. If you have an opinion that most should offer different values in order to expand globally, please mention it in your report. We appreciate such critical feedback as well. Okay, so let's proceed to the next topic. Since I've been talking conceptual information so long, let me introduce our menu. We understand your country may have different food cultures. For that reason, we flexibly change our menus to fit the countries in which we operate. First of all, let me introduce the major menu items in Japan. Our most popular item in Japan is our signature MOS burger. It features 6 sliced tomato and a generous portion of special meat sauce. It takes a little practice to eat clean. Some people get frustrated. The price is $2.99. Many people may think it is amazingly cheap. The main reason is the recent depreciation of Japanese yen. It has dropped about 30% against the US dollar. Also, the size of the hamburger is one size smaller than the typical American size to suit Japanese taste. But still, I think most burger is very tasty compared to the price. There are options, cheese and jalapenos. I think this full option is the best. The second most popular item is teriyaki burger. Now, teriyaki burger is so popular and sold in many fast food restaurants in Japan, but it's our invention 50 years ago. It's filled with fresh lettuce and the combination of sweet soy sauce and mayonnaise goes well together. The price is 2.86. Oh my gosh. And the third most popular item is teriyaki chicken burger. Those who interested in Japanese food may know yakitori. It's just a traditional grilled chicken skewer. In our stores, the chicken is dipped in a special sauce and then actually grilled to give it a savory flavor. It goes well with fresh lettuce, onions, and mayonnaise. The price is about $3. Other burgers include shrimp cutlet, fish fillet, and pork cutlet. Different special sauces are used for each burger. And we also sell rice burgers. They are made with rice instead of buns. This is another MOS invention. In the 1980s, there was a serious surplus of rice in Japan, and we developed this product to solve the social problem. Now it became one of our unique products. As shown in the lower part of the slide, there are various rice balls in Japan, tempura bowl, beef bowl, etc. We made rice balls in the shape of hamburgers so that people can easily eat them without using chopsticks. We are selling two varieties, tempura and Korean barbecue. Tempura is filled with seafood such as shrimp and squid. Korean barbecue is filled with salted beef. We also have an extensive vegetarian menu. All patties can be changed to soy patty. Soy patties are made from soy, mushroom, and konjac. Those who want to cut down on calories or carbohydrates can choose lettuce instead of buns. I love this option. Additionally, we sell all plant-based hamburger. This, this green burger is not only beautiful, but also tasty. This green color of the bun is made from spinach. This is our latest innovation. And our fried chicken is named MOS chicken. It is also popular in Japan. Now we are collaborating with the Japanese famous animation, One Piece. So the box is designed as a treasure box. Our tea leaves are imported directly from Sri Lanka. Our MOS shake has a rich milk flavor, and our soup are also delicious. This corn soup is made with domestic local corn, and it is very thick compared to other restaurants. This clam chowder contains a lot of clam. So as you can see, each of our menu items is filled with our attention to detail. Looks delicious, doesn't it? I'm starving. So from here, let me introduce our international stores. First is Taiwan. Taiwan is a culture that eats rice rather than bread. Therefore, rice burgers are more popular than in Japan. This picture shows a rice burger blended with quinoa, which is a very healthy plant. And next is Australia. Australian hamburgers are much larger than those in Japan. The photo on the upper right is a rice burger. However, since people are not familiar with the name rice burger, maybe it is Japanese expression. Then we once sold them under the name sushi burger, but that didn't go well so much. And next, the last is Singapore. In Singapore, you can try okonomiyaki rice burger. Okonomiyaki is one of the most famous Japanese food and it's popular among foreign tourists. Please see this picture. This MOS Burger store is located very next to the famous place, Malayan statue. And my background photo is also a Singapore store. So far, I introduced many kinds of international menu items. In every country, we sell our signature MOS Burger equally. On the other hand, the menu items are relatively flexible and allowed to be changed from country to country. We are trying to adapt to local taste as much as possible. But I know many of you many of you don't have a MOS Burger store nearby. If you have a time, please check out YouTube. There are many English reviews. I haven't seen these videos, so I don't know whether it is favorable or not, but I think it is the truth. As you may know, since it's difficult to capture the preferences in each country, we formed joint ventures with local companies. The upper left photo is Thailand, and the lower is Taiwan. And the right is with a partner in the Philippines. Many of our partners already operate other restaurant chains in their countries. Requirements for our partner includes not only financial resources, but also the ability to hire and train good employees, secure a good location for opening a store, and procure food ingredients. Of course, the most important thing is that they sincerely emphasize MOS's management philosophy. The next is sustainability. We are passionate about the SDGs. I won't go into detail today, but if you are interested, please check the integrated report on our website. Finally, let me talk earlier about finance. Our company as a whole is not that profitable. Fast food is a very price competitive business, and we strive to serve tasty food as affordably as possible. Therefore, productivity and cost reduction are always our key management issues. Right now, Japan is heading toward inflation. However, thoughtless price increase will hurt the trust of customers. When we raise prices, we try to offer higher value at the same time. That is not only deliciousness, but also SDGs initiatives or convenience such as apps and mobile ordering system. About overseas business, there are three subsidiaries managed directly, which are Singapore, Hong Kong, and the factory in Taiwan. The rest are joint ventures and minor investments. In other words, our financial statements have a large exposure to the three companies. The most recent fiscal year was in the red. This is largely due to the poor performance of them. These were some reasons.
Can I ask a question here? So your company operates as a wholly owned company, or the restaurants, are they franchised or are they owned by the company?
Okay, thank you for the question. So we owned three companies, this Taiwan factory, and Singapore and Hong Kong are our stores. We operate stores.
Uh-huh.
And the rest of countries, Thailand, China, Australia, Korea, and the Philippines, and also Taiwan stores are operated by joint venture.
Uh-huh.
And we invested as minority.
Uh-huh. Uh-huh. So the individual restaurants, like the one on the picture behind you, so would
Yes,
they be owned by one of your partner major
yes, yes.
investors, or would it be like an independent franchisee?
Ah, yes. Our stores are owned by our joint venture.
Uh-huh, uh-huh. Okay,
Yes,
okay. That's
yes,
interesting. So it
and
gives you more control.
yes, and so I wrote this. So in Korea, the only exception is Korea. Korea is now we allow to our partner to uh, sub-franchise.
Uh-huh, uh-huh. Okay, interesting.
So we are now trying to seek the best way to expand to overseas.
I see, I see. Okay, very good. Thank you.
You're more open to franchising?
Excuse me? Thank you. Excuse
Were
me.
you, so you're more open to franchising to expand?
I think it's an option. And now we are trying to do so in Korea.
Cool.
Okay.
But the rest of the country, uh, we uh, we don't operate as a franchise. Our JV, joint venture, directly owned our stores.
Okay, thank you.
Okay. Okay. So okay. So and now, so as you can see, and the latest fiscal year was in the red. There's, there were some reasons. I have three main reasons. One is the change of the social environment in Hong Kong and change in customer activities and needs due to COVID-19 and the global appreciation of raw materials triggered by Russia's invasion of Ukraine. Our response for these changes was not enough for speedy and sufficient. We are now making efforts to improve our performance in those countries. So please note that there's no need to consider too much to the current difficult situation in your report. Please think freely about the future expansion of our business. Now, here is an explanation of the challenge. As you may know, Japan's population is decreasing. In order for our company to keep growing and for our mission to be realized not only in Japan but also worldwide, overseas expansion is our major challenge. We think the same approach as in Japan will not work well. So our questions are basically simple. Where do you think our business opportunities exist? And what should change and what should not change? We'd like to hear your honest ideas. This slide shows the relation of each section. For section 1 and section 2, we structured the question according to basic strategic frameworks like PEST, 3C, and SWOT, etc. I will explain them in order. Let's start with section 1. The purpose of here is twofold. One is getting a better understanding about MOS, and the second is the SWOT. We are very interested in how everyone around the world perceive our business. There is no right answer, so please think freely. And number 2, identify new promising markets will be the backbone of your report. For example, whether you choose developed markets or emerging markets will be a major dividing point in your proposal. Most important is how our brand will be well differentiated and accepted by by people in the country. Section 2 is marketing. This section falls under the STPs and 4Ps framework. In promotion materials, please visualize your ideas. This will help to create a single image within your group. Also, it will support to improve the clarity of your report. Honestly, I am not good at drawing pictures and it takes a long time. So please utilize existing image on the internet or AI or whatever method you are comfortable with. And section 3 is operation management. Please design a company that can realize the ideas in section 2, as well as grow continuously. Lastly, let me emphasize a little about the last question, organization. You may be tired when you reach this question, but we are looking forward to your answer to this question very much. Please take advantage of your past experiences and what you've learned in your school to design a new organization. This is the last slide. Again, there are no set answers. We believe that hamburger business is for providing a fun dining experience. Thinking too seriously does not generate interesting ideas. Please take it easy, be free, be bold, and enjoy the discussion with your teammates. That concludes my talk. Thank you for your attention.
Thank you
And
very
now,
much. So we have a lot of questions. So
you.
students, you can, I see your questions in the questions, so please go ahead, type them there. So I'll start with the question by John Zanarini, who was asking the same question that I was curious about. So you seem to have a lot of success in Taiwan. So do you know why Taiwan goes so well? What are the reasons you see the biggest growth there?
Okay, thank you for question, John. Yes, it is a good question. So our Taiwan business is the best successful example. And we have some reasons, but first of all, our local partner deeply understands our brand and interpreted our brand into Taiwanese culture successfully. So I think translation is important. And moreover, the partner has many strengths such as financial management, operation management, and securing prime locations. So partners' capability affects the growth. And one more thing, we entered Taiwan in 1991. And the timing was also good. It was in a developing phase of the restaurant industry in Taiwan. that's some example of what worked.
Mhm. Yeah, that
And
makes sense. Yeah.
so, have I answered your question?
I think so. I think so.
Okay, thank you.
Here is another question from Arshia. So you're currently operating primarily in East and South Asia. For market expansion, which other regions or countries are you most interested in? Are you, for example, open to moving into European market or maybe North America or further south all the way to Australia? Maybe more locations there or Africa for that matter. So what are your interests in terms of the locations?
Yes. So basically, we are focused on Asian market. That's why our stores overseas almost located in Asian countries. But in the future, we want to expand more. So that's why we are participating in agriculture, and I want to ask other options. But of course, a, a, to focusing to focusing on Asia is one answer, I think. So, so for example, that China is the biggest market. So it could be an answer for I to our future focus.
Yep. So if I understand you correctly, you're open to just about any part of the world at this time, as long as the opportunity presents itself?
Yes.
Very good, very good. I see I missed some questions. I see James Law and maybe others. Don't be afraid to raise your hand and just ask your questions with audio, but there is one that I received by email that I wanted to ask. Competition. So which companies do you consider your biggest competition? You did mention McDonald's and Burger King. Are there any other maybe Asian burger chains, or those the big ones are the biggest competition? How do you see yourself in this larger industry, sort of?
Okay, thank you for your question. That is difficult to answer, but I think many people think our biggest competitors are McDonald's and other fast food restaurants. And I think it is one answer. And so, but we want to provide another value to customers, and we want to try to differentiate such big competitors. And if you want to know exact name of the competitors, so for example, McDonald's and Burger King are the biggest hamburger chain in the world. And also, some local strong competitors exist. For example, in the Philippines, do you know Jollibee? Jollibee is a very big fast food chain.
Yeah, yeah.
So there are some global competitors and plus some local competitors.
Yeah, my understanding, and this could be more of a North American perspective, but Japan as a country has a very strong image and sort of recognition for quality. Japanese cars are the best. Japanese electronics is the best. And so it seems to me that if the Japanese sort of origin of the company was highlighted in the product, people would be interested in at least trying. And possibly, like, for example, in the United States, McDonald's is not necessarily associated with the best food or healthy choices. So if we had a Japanese version, many people may look at it as like, oh, that's the sort of the healthy, the high quality version of McDonald's. So I can imagine that it would be quite a popular option. I'm not sure. I've never seen a Japanese burger store, but it seems to me that that image, that perception of quality and trust from the country may generalize also to your network of stores. So it would be interesting to see if students could do some research into that.
Yes.
James, I see you switched on your camera. Would you like to ask a question? Go ahead, please. I saw your questions and I didn't get to them.
Sure, it's okay. Thank you, Mr. Kasai. Thank you for your presentation. So I would like to ask, because we saw your product is very differentiated from the rice burger. I tried in Hong Kong, which is excellent.
Thank you very much.
Yes, but can I know, is there any basic rules from the headquarter, okay, to control the product differentiation? Because, when you're entering multiple markets, there will be different needs from the customers. So, how can most balance the creativity and also for the practical, the local taste?
Okay, thank you your question. Thank you for your question. It is also a very good question. And so actually, we are judging case by case. And so it depends on the market situation. But I think it may be not good. So, uh, so some our examples of withdrawal. For example, we withdraw from Indonesia and China, mainland China, south part of China. And in that location, we opened a little, I think we are too localized or too adapted to local preferences. So, for example, we opened a specialized rice burger stores. It is already not most burger, but we are specialized rice burger stores. And in other case, we are opened upscale hamburger restaurant because in Indonesia, the price competition is very fierce. And then we saw we cannot stand for this competition. And then we move to upper segment. But it is also that didn't work. So I think too much local adaptation is not good. And then we are we are seeking the good rule to how we adapt to local taste and how we don't adapt and we protect our Japanese original recipe or many rules or product.
Yeah, thank you.
Have I
Totally
answered the
got it.
question?
Yeah, sure, sure. And also one more quick question is that because I saw in Singapore, Hong Kong, also Taiwan, MOS is also doing delivery. So is there any tricks to ensure the quality is still good when customers are eating at their home?
Good question.
Yeah. Yes, I think it's better than Japan. As you may know, I explained before, our product is very temperature sensitive. And the best condition is the very in the store. So I think delivery is not suitable for our product. But we are trying to change our products to good for delivery. And for example, in Singapore, we don't add our sauces in the hamburger, and we add separately. We place the sauce separately, and then customers can add this sauce when the customer eat. So we can do such effort to adapt to delivery business.
Thank you.
Thank you. There are two questions, one from Nicotia and one from Reina, if I pronounce that correctly, about the core values of your company. So you devoted some time to talking about the values that your company cherishes. And so there is one question, are there any values that you would not be willing to compromise as you move into new markets? And then also another question is how important it is to you to strategically preserve the core values of your company when moving into new markets. So yours is an inherently Japanese company. And so obviously some of the core values are also inherently Japanese. So how open are you to adapting some of those philosophies as you enter new markets? And also, what are the values that you will never change no matter where you operate?
Okay, so thank you for your question. If I say one core value, our one core value, the most important thing is the deliciousness. So it's compared to other fast food restaurant or no. I think it not depends on the price. So we are we want to sell, we want to provide the most delicious food. So this is our commitment.
Right.
So I think every culture has different preferences, but we want to make the most delicious food in these countries. And one more thing is our hospitality. This is from Japan, but we are very dedicated to hospitality. So because we are operating in as franchise operation. So in Japan, and our franchise owners live in the local area, and they provide local service and local atmosphere.
Right.
It is, I think, it is good our strength. But in foreign stores, we are operating joint ventures, and now we are rely on to the local partners to such atmosphere,
Yeah,
such
local
making the
expertise.
atmosphere.
Yeah,
Mm.
yeah, makes perfect sense. What is your expense structure? And specifically, one student is asking, what percentage of your operating cost is marketing? So how much do you spend on marketing, and what are your other major expenses operating this business?
Okay, okay. Of course, the most significant cost is food, but marketing cost is not so significant, I think. And the food is a significant, and the next is rent
Yeah, rent, yes.
and labor. These three cost is major cost in all restaurant companies.
Yeah, that makes perfect sense. Yes. There was an interesting question some time ago. So the Japanese yen is now relatively affordable. So I know tourism to Japan is now a good time to visit Japan. It's a little bit cheaper than normally. It's not a cheap country. It's usually quite expensive. But at least with the US dollar now, it's a little bit more affordable. Did it have a positive or negative impact on your business?
Yes, basically it's negative impact.
Negative.
Yes, it is my perspective. So it consolidate whole company's perspective because our major business is in Japan, still in Japan. So we import many things from overseas. So
Oh,
Japanese yen is affect our cost structure. But on the other hand, our overseas business and we when is preferable, good.
okay.
And so in the consolidated perspective, uh, the domestic business is not good and overseas business is good, but the portion is bigger in the domestic market. So total effect is negative.
Negative. I see. Interesting. Interesting. Yes. Well, if many ingredients need to be imported, I can see how that could be an issue. So this one is both a comment and a question. And so I guess it's more of an advice to the students, but also a question for you in case you have any suggestions. So in the instructions and from myself personally, I highly recommend that students do their market research. And by that, I mean interview your friends and ask if they would be interested in buying Japanese burgers. Interview maybe employees in the competition companies. What are their greatest challenges, how they operate. See if there are any other burger chains in your country that have recently expanded and showed success, and maybe interview some of those company representatives. What was their secret? Was it difficult to break in whatever country you are in? What were the challenges? What were the solutions? So things like that. And so the question here from Mr. Kosai is, so which would be the groups the students should most focus as they're collecting these data, as they interview potential, I don't know, customers, partners, competitors maybe, or other companies that maybe sell other types of food, but could be informative in terms of what makes it work in that specific country. And maybe what specific questions should they be asking to both better understand the market, but also so that that information that they gather were of most importance and interest to your company.
Okay.
Excuse me? Can I also open for question?
Related to surveying the potential, basically conducting market research, or something else?
It's something else because
Let's answer
okay,
this one and then you, James. Sure,
okay,
we have
sure.
time, but let's talk first. So because we will have a few thousand students working on this challenge, my logic is that one, they need to conduct their own research, because whatever ideas they have, if they do not validate it against potential, by interviewing potential customers, or as I said, competitors or partners, they may not know if their ideas are any good. But also, if thousands of students each interviews 5 friends or 2 restaurant owners, so individually that's not much, but once we put it all together, it could be a very useful global survey. And so the question here is, as students embark on these interviews and data collection, what would be the types of people they need to reach and interview to better understand the market, but also what kind of information would be most useful for MOS Foods, MOS Burger, so that when we consolidate all those data, they were most useful for your company.
Okay, so one is the important thing is market size. So if the market size is too small, so we cannot open our store.
Right.
And also important thing is customer perspective. In other words, market acceptance. For example,
Yes.
there is some there's a hamburger market already exists, or now restaurant industry is growing. It is a favorable situation, I think. And also, if you conduct interviews, I think we want to know the customer acceptance. For example, as you know, our strength or our commitment is delicious and healthy. And also, the price is a little expensive than as a lowest cost fast food chain. So I don't know. I want to know such market is really exist or not.
Yeah.
And I think it is the customer interviews is will help such implication.
Exactly. Because as I said, we often see a situation where students think that they have a brilliant idea, or they think that the customers will like the product. But until you ask, you don't know. And sometimes you interview a few friends and you ask them, for example, in this case, would you want to buy a Japanese burger? And very possible they will say, I don't know, I thought burgers need to be American. Or maybe they will say, oh, yes, of course. Yeah, I'm sick and tired of McDonald's. I want something new. So please conduct that research, see what the customers in your location think, but also see maybe you can borrow ideas from other restaurant owners or restaurant chain owners. That could be very, very illuminating as you are trying to develop your proposal for the company.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you. It will be helpful.
James, you had a question. Please go ahead.
Yeah, thank you so much. Thank you, Dr. Taras, for very useful advice. Mr. Kashai, so I think two questions from my side because I work in the industry before, but not exactly in the burger. A bit more operational that maybe we cannot find online. So I would like to ask, number one will be because we saw that there's a food factory in Taiwan, and I think basically in Japan you will have multiple factories. So usually, what kind of ingredients are produced in the factory? And usually, for example, 300 stores in Taiwan can support a factory. If we can tell from the numbers, so is it a normal size in Japan? For example, in Japan is 1,100 stores, so will it be like four factories in Japan?
Thank you.
Good
Thank you for your
question.
question. Okay, so in Japan, actually, we don't have direct owned factory, but we have some minority investment companies we have. And those companies make patties and our sauces, and also our MOS chicken, and almost all ingredients are made by those companies. We are, our headquarters are fabless. We don't have factory. We don't own factories, but we have some strong connected factories in Japan. And similarly, in Taiwan, we have direct owned factory, and it produces rice patty and other ingredients. But in Taiwan, in Taiwan joint venture does not buy all ingredients from our factory, but they sometimes buy ingredients from other companies. But mainly we sell food ingredients to the joint venture in Taiwan. This is our situation. Have I
Okay.
asked you? Okay.
Yeah, and also one further question will be, is there any core ingredients that must be imported from Japan?
Oh, that's a good question. Yes. So can it be all made locally, or there are some secret sauce that must come from Japan?
Yes, yes, yes. It's like Coca-Cola, right? Yes. Yes. Our most burgers sauce. Maybe I introduced here. Yes, yes. This sauce is our secret recipe. But uh, the difference between our sauce and Coca-Cola syrup, uh, it is very costly to deliver all sources from Japan to the country. So uh, we strict we contract strict agreement with uh, local factory, and then then the local companies make uh, our sources, but we don't open our sources exactly, and then the taste is a little bit different from Japan to other countries. Also, preferences are different, but this is our core product or core recipe.
Good to know. So we'll
Thank
try
you,
it in
thank you.
different countries. Yes.
Sorry, one more question about marketing. So I
And
saw,
James, as you're asking a question, I also see two students raise their
okay,
hands. So Professor
get their
Yin
turn
again
first.
told me, so there is Fahad and then Neruda. So if you still guys have questions, unmute your microphones and please go ahead and ask them after James. So James, your last question because we are out of time. And if any more students want to ask, so you have a few more minutes, please.
Okay, sorry, we'll be quick. So about marketing, I saw that there's the One Piece, the cartoon animation, and I saw it like in the website of Singapore,
Well, you've done your
Philippines,
research. Yeah.
of course, to show the respect. only for markets so far in the website are showing the one piece promotion. So for some marketing promotion, what is the level of freedom to do their own marketing, or they must apply some of the marketing from the Japan headquarter?
That's a good question. So can a
Uh,
local agency, or I mean a local company, let's say in Korea or in Singapore, can they hire a local agency and do their own advertisement, or does it need to come from Japan? That's a very good question.
yes, yes, yes. One Piece is very uh, unusual example, and so such strong, we contact such strong IP in local companies doesn't have such freedom to change marketing strategy. But basically, local companies contract their own advertising agency, and they and maybe our headquarters doesn't uh, doesn't mm, doesn't affect local decisions so much.
Yeah, fair enough, fair
So
enough. All right, so I see also, Fahad, you have your microphone unmuted. Did you want to
Yes,
ask a question?
yes, thank you so much for providing this opportunity. And thank you so much, Kosan, for this wonderful presentation, as always, I'd say. I have a very quick question, although most of the questions have already been answered. And thanks to James for pointing out some very valuable details from here. I would like to take your opinion on one thing. Let's suppose, as Dr. Vass has asked us, that we need to do some research. I am from Pakistan. Pakistan has a very large market for fast food. It contributes to, it is the second largest fast food industry in our country. And then 42% of our income, monthly income, goes to the fast food. Now, this is a very dramatic
Oh,
statistic for the past, over the past 10 years. And we see Japan as a brand of quality. So, what are the factors that you consider when you are entering into a market that is in South Asia or in Middle East? Because one key factor we have is that we need to have halal certification
oh yeah.
for our meat, for processing of our meat. So, is Moss Burger willing to have a JV with the companies who produce locally halal processed meat and give their expansion in countries like Pakistan or other Middle Eastern countries? Thank you.
Interesting question.
thank you for your questions. And uh, we are eager to enter such Muslim countries, and we we opened our stores in Indonesia, so we can adapt to halal food, and we are eager to adapt
Great.
local taste and Muslim taste.
Thank
Yeah.
you so much. Thank you.
Yes, such interesting cross-cultural, culturally sensitive questions from every direction. So yes. There is also a question from Arshia about asking questions in the future. Yes, if you have any questions, and you will have more questions in a week, in 2 weeks, as you start working on the project, just send them to admin@xculture.org, and we will send them to Mr. Kosai. We usually do not share direct contacts of our company representatives. One, they're very busy, and there are thousands of you. But more importantly, many questions are repetitive. So usually it would be like 10, 20 teams ask the same question. So there is no point to bother a busy executive with those questions. So one of our assistants compiles the questions and then basically asks them if it's a new question. But if it's one that we already received an answer to, we simply know it and basically copy paste. So this way we don't need to take too much time from the company representative. But you definitely can contact us with questions. We will relay them. We will either have the answer and give it to you right away, or if we don't have the answer, we will relay the question to the company and then share it with you once we have the answer. So,
Yes, I'm glad to answer them.
All right, so then we are out of time. I promised to be under 45 minutes, and we have at the hour. Somebody else has a question? Okay, then, yeah.
Yeah, it's me, Anirudh.
Oh, Aniruddha, yes,
Thank
please
you.
go ahead.
Thank
Next
you,
question
Kosan.
then, yes.
Actually, I wanted to ask a lot of questions, but it's already James and
One most
Mr.
important.
Fahad. Yeah, Mr. Fahad and James already asked me a question. So thank you for the wonderful presentation. And my question is the same. Like, what's your plan regarding with the marketing strategy in India or maybe some developing countries like Sri Lanka or something like that with the halal certifications as well?
In India, I guess it would be more a concerned vegetarian option, right? I assume. And then Pakistan, probably halal. And then I imagine there are all kinds of other dietary restrictions in other countries. So.
Okay, so
And
thank you for your
also,
question. Yeah.
also, I'm sorry.
So your question
There
is,
is one question. Yeah. How can you, I mean, there is any your plan like you can expand your like you already said that it's MOS burger, it's very famous in Taiwan right now. Do you have any plans to open and compete in India or Sri Lanka maybe in the future?
yeah, of course, I want to expand our global business, but right now we don't have any plan to open specific countries.
Yeah.
Because now, as you know, our overseas business, the financial statement is not good right now. So we want to improve those situations. This is the number one priority. But at the next, we want to open to many countries.
Yeah. Ultimately, Aniruddha and others, if you believe that there is a market in your country, India, Pakistan, whatever other country, Sri Lanka, wherever you are, the best way to do it is you conduct a research of potential customers, you show the
Sure.
results of the survey, you run some financial analysis, make sure that, the company would be not only in demand from the consumers, but also the competition is not too fierce, or there is a way to differentiate yourself from competition. And then you present your ideas. So over the years,
Sure.
culture has been around for 15 years now. And we've had quite a few cases when the company was convinced to invest in countries they never thought about. They were like, oh, we never thought about it. But then looking at the data, sure, it might work. So maybe that's what will happen to MOS Burger. So maybe they, at this time, are not even thinking about whichever country you're in. But once they see your calculations, once they see your market research results, maybe they will say, hey, we need to take a closer look. Maybe, and here I'm speculating, maybe they will even say, well, this Aniruddha Davane seems like a smart guy. He did such a great research. Maybe you want to be our local representative in that market. So I don't know if it will happen with this specific
I hope
company.
so.
Well, it has happened before with other companies. So the better you do a job, the more, the better impression you make, the more the company will then be open to the idea. And as I said, maybe even some long-term collaboration with you personally. So.
Oh, thank you, Mr. Trans, and thank you, Kosan.
Yeah.
Thank you very
Thank you,
much.
everyone. So let's stop here. So those of you in Asia, Australia, have a nice day. Those of you in Europe, Africa, and the Americas, have a nice evening. So, and yes, let's hope that you will bring a lot of not only bright ideas, but maybe also ideas supported by some empirical data that you will collect. And so let's see where it leads us. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you, everyone. And
Thank
Professor.
you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Thank
Bye-bye,
you so
everyone.
much, sir. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you.